Shri Shri Radha Govinda Dev Ki Jai. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Govinda Temple. As you can see, wonderful form of Srimati Radharani and Radha Govinda. So we'll be entering the 5th day of Ramayan today. It was really very exciting learning, and we'll continue to do that. Nana Shastra Vicharane Nipuno Saddharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarano Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajana Nandana Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanantara Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Jiva Gopalako Om Ajnanam Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagara Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitausha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kantu Radha Kantu Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to distinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the material affected world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master who is an ocean of spiritual qualities. संसार दाव नवनीत लोका त्राणाय कारुं घना घनत्वम् प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् महाप्रभो कीर्तन नृत्य गीता वादित्रमाद्या मनस्वर सेना रोमांचकंपाश्रुतरंगबाजो वंदे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् श्री विग्रहाराधन नित्य नाना श्रृंगार तन मंदिर मार्जना दो युक्तस्य भक्तस्य नियुञ्जितोऽपि वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्री भगवत प्रसाद साध्वान तृप्तान हरिभक्त संघान कृतेव तृप्तिं भजता सदैव वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् श्री राधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्य लीला गुणरूप नाम्नम् प्रतिक्षण स्वादनलोलुपस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् निकुंजयूनो रतिकेलिसिद्धै यालालिभिर युक्तिर अपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्षात् अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् साक्षाद्धारित्वेन समस्त शास्त्राय उक्तस्तथा भवत्येव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभो या प्रियवचस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत प्रसादो यस्य प्रसाद न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायस्तु तस्य यशस्वी सन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दम् Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The prayer is from Shri Gaura stuck by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments, the spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is relishing the marrow of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end. He feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in temple worship of Shri Radha Govinda. He always engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temples and perform the similar worship of Lord Shri Radha Govinda. I offer my respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food, analyzed as that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasad, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radha and Madhava and their qualities, names and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord, because he is the most confident servitor of Lord. This is acknowledged in all real scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Lord Sri Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I always remember and praise the spiritual master. At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. So as a formality, we pray to Srila Prabhupada and the entire Guru Parampara so that we can understand this intricate subject of Ramayana. Yesterday we read, then after a progeny of 12 months on the 9th day of waxing bright fortnight in the month of Chaitra, Kaushalya gave birth to son Ram. This divine child had reddish eyes and lips, long arms, and was decorated with all auspicious markings. The son of Kaushalya represented one half of the potency of Lord Sri Vishnu. Soon after, a son representing 1/4 of the prowess of Lord Vishnu was born of Kaikeyi, Maharaja Dasharath's youngest queen. Then 2 days after the appearance of Kaushalya's son, Sumitra gave birth to twins, each representing 1/6 of the potency of Lord Vishnu. All 4 of the newborn children highly resembled one another and were exceedingly effulgent and pleasing to behold. Indeed, upon the appearance of Maharaja, Dashratha's four sons, the demigods showered flowers from heaven, while the Gandharvas sang and played musical instruments as the Apsaras dance in Ayodhya. There was a great festival as musicians danced and actors crowded the streets with all citizens participating in merrymaking. 13 days after the birth of Kaushalya's child, Vasishtha Muni, the family priest of Maharaja Dasharath, performed the name-giving ceremony. The fortunate Rishi named son of Kaushalya Rama, while the son of Kaikeyi was named Bharat. The twin sons of Sumitra were named Lakshmana and Shatrughna. Thereafter, Vasishtha took charge of performing all the purificatory ritual for the sons of Maharaja Dasharath, culminating the sacred thread ceremony. Under Vasishtha's guidance, all four brothers became masters of the Vedas, great heroic warriors, and reservoir of all godly qualities. From birth, however, Rama outshone his brothers in all respects. Quite naturally, he became the favorite son of Maharaja Dasharath. Likewise, from childhood, Lakshmana was very attached to Rama. Similarly, Ram was not willing to eat anything or even go to sleep without Lakshmana. Whenever Ram went hunting, Lakshmana unfailingly accompanied him. Shatrughna and Bharata were also very dear to each other and thus inseparable. So we have been getting familiar with story from the Ramayan. Now, the situation is like that sometimes when you go to subway or other big areas in cities to travel, there is a big board nowadays. And there is one point where they say, "You are here." The whole city is there, 8 million people around you, so many hundreds and thousands of places. And the network of subways and trains and buses and everything is located, the streets and avenue and everything. And it will be impossible for us unless someone is actually directing us or telling us where you are. So that particular point is very important, that you are here. You take off, plane is balancing in the sky. It's okay to bring the shade a little bit up and look into the ocean, or look around the city, the big skyscraper you are flying over, or the rivers and other beautiful parks, etc. You enjoy it, and then you know where you are. So, this particular scripture, Ramayan, is also a huge scripture, and we have to always pinpoint ourselves and know where we are. And that is why it is always good to know little bit of past, little bit of future, and then balance ourselves in the presence and present period. So I'll take you back where before this happened, Ram Janma we called, or Ramavatar we call, birth of Ram we can call. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And this particular incarnation that we just talked about is actually 18th incarnation of so many hundreds of incarnations. It's very easy when there is a Krishna Janmashtami and we say, oh, this is a Krishna Janma, and there is a Ram Navami, so this is a Ram Navami. But you don't know the sequence and the event and the sequence of events. And that is why I say that this particular incarnation was 18th of them. And if I put you the numbers in front of you, so that you should know and you should understand, and that way you will know where you are. So the first we saw Purush incarnation, and from him Brahma was manifested, and then there was a description of universal form, and then various incarnations are actually listed in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Kumar incarnation, Shukra incarnation, Narad incarnation, Naranarayan incarnation, Kapil incarnation, Dattatreya incarnation, Yagna incarnation, Rushabh incarnation, Pruthu incarnation, Matsya incarnation, Kurma incarnation, Dhanvantari incarnation, Mohini incarnation, Nrusya incarnation, Vamana incarnation, Bhrugupati, Parshuram incarnation, Vyasadeva incarnation, and then Rama incarnation. So, if you don't know the past, then it will be very difficult for you to be in the present. And that is why we also should know what happens after that, the Balaram incarnation, Krishna incarnation, Buddha incarnation, Kalki incarnation, and so forth. So, we'll be actually reading further about this so that at least we are familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayan, and as well as the different incarnation in relationship with Ram incarnation. So, here it says, Rupam sajagruhe matsyam chakshusho dadi samprave navyarupya mahimayam padveva svatamam. Rupam sajagruhe matsyam chakshushodadi samprave navyaropya mahimayam padveva svatam manu. Here it says that when there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshusa Manu, and the whole world was dipped within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on the boat. So the first incarnation in so far as Dashavatar is concerned, the 10 incarnation is Matsya incarnation. But like I said, those incarnations also, we just check the numbers in which the numbers actually didn't match because 10 incarnations were very powerful, prominent incarnations, and that is why the Shavatar is separate than the final count that is given in scriptures. Even in Valmiki Ramayana, the same thing, that the Matsya avatar is the 10th incarnation. According to the Sharavatar, it is the first incarnation. But otherwise, it is the 10th incarnation among the final list of all the incarnations. So, you have to imagine the time, that lot of time has passed from this particular event. And it is described this way, that when there was a complete inundation, flood, after the period of the Chakshusha Manu and the whole world was dipped within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on a boat. If you read Bible, the first chapter also describes this particular event. There is a chapter called Noah's Ark, in which this big boat is actually described, the construction of it, and how it really helped the mankind. It also describes the inundation, the flood, the greatest flood, and it is really scary, and how it lasted, and what happened. Word to word you can compare with our scriptures. Bible tells you that story. So, it's a confirmation, verification of the event that this is not a man-made story or mythology. This really happened. It did happen. And then the next one we go after Matsya. Suranam dadim mantatam mandarachalam dadre kamatharuperam prushta ekadashe vibhu surasuramudadim mantatam mandarachalam dadre kamatharuperam prushta ekadashe vibhu. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandaracharan hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theist and atheist of the universe. So, it's altogether different story now, different setup, and different incarnation. It becomes really interesting, because when you have to know that when Lord Rama appeared, what were the circumstances? And millions years before, what were the circumstances? And how we were helped through the incarnations of the Lord. And then it says, Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatal gatam mahim uddarishyanupadat yagnesha sokaram vapu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim udarishyanupadattam yagnesha saukaram vapu. Saukar means shukar, or a boar incarnation. The supreme enjoyer of the sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. Very, very interesting. That the demons, they actually captured the earth and threw it in the ocean. And can you believe, with this globe of the earth, we are floating in the ocean and we have no any future whatsoever. The only God can save us, and that is what that sugar incarnation. And then Chaturdasham Narasiham Bribhadaitendramurjitam Dararo Jairuram Verukam Kutakrudyatham Chaturdasham Narasiham Bribhadaitendramurjitam Dararo Jairuram Verukam Katakrudyatha. In this incarnation, the Lord appeared at Narasimha and bifurcated the strong body of atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. So I showed you that picture right in front of us. We have in every ISKCON temple picture of Narasimha Deva, who is half man and half lion. And on his lap there is a body of Hiranyakashipu, and is ripping his chest apart. Flood comes out of it, of the blood, and in that bloody flood, the Bhakta Prahlad, the devotee, his son, Hiranyakashipu's son, is and a devotee of Narasimha Deva, is actually with the folded hand. You can see beautiful picture drawn by Jadurani Maharaj. So, in that incarnation, the Lord appeared as half man and half lion. It is interesting to know, we just were reading about form of Lord and description of the Lord and his form. Now we have to compare how that evolution of the form is coming, just like Darwin mentioned, it's nice from artistic point of view, aesthetics point of view, from scientific point of view. You should know the fish incarnation and tortoise incarnation and boar incarnation, half man, half lion incarnation. And then Panchadasham Vamanankam Krutsvagadadvaram Balehi Padatrayam Pyayamanaha Pratyadistu Stripistipam. He is saying in the 15th incarnation the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf, Brahmana, Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaja Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land only. So the Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning. And similarly, he can take away the kingdom of universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. And he depicted this very beautifully. So we go to the next incarnation. And it says, Avatare Shodashe me Pashyam Brahma Dhruvo Trihi Sapta Krutva Kupido Nikshatram Karonmahi Avatare Shodashe me Pashyam Brahma Dhruvo Trihi Sapta Krutva Kupido Nikshatram Karonmahi. In the 16th incarnation of the God, the Lord, as Brihaspati, annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times being angry with them because of the rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intellectual class. So that was Bhrugupati or Parshuram, we know him as. Naradevattvamapanna surkaya chishikshaya samudra nigrahadini chakre viyanyata param. Naradevattvamapanna suryakarya chikirshaya samudra nigrahadini chakre viryanata param. So here it says, in the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is a kind of picture or book which gives the definitions, introductions, purports, and understanding, and beautifully how it's connected with one another. This given very wonderfully. So, in Ramayan you won't find what you call Bhagavatam. In Ramayan there is no Bhagavatam. But in Bhagavatam you can find Ramayan. That's the beautiful beauty of Bhagavatam. So here in the Bhagavatam it says that the personality of Godhead Sri Rama assumed the form of human being and appeared on the earth for the purpose of doing some pleasing work for the demigods or administrative personalities to maintain the order of universe. Sometimes great demons and atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and many others become very famous due to advancement and material civilization by the help of material science and other activities with a spirit of challenging the established order of the Lord. For example, the attempt to fly to other planets by material means is a challenge to the established order. The conditions of each and every planet are different, and different classes of human beings are accommodated there for particular purpose mentioned in the codes of Lord. But puffed up by tiny success and material advancement, sometimes the godless materialistic challenge the existence of God. Ravana was one of them, and he wanted to deport ordinary men to planet of Indra, heaven, by material means, without consideration of the necessary qualifications. He wanted a staircase to be built by directly reaching the heavenly planet so that people might not be required to undergo the routine of pious work necessary to enter that planet. Now here, the word staircase is not actually to be taken in meaning of the same staircase we are talking about. Even today, with the NASA or any other organization, by any government, for any government, with any government, you will not find such an infrastructure which connects all the planetary systems. You may only think one kind of mission like going to Mars or going to Moon and that kind of thing. But Ravana, if you read the Ramayan, he has suggested the plans to connect the hell with the material world and then to the heaven. All the 14 planetary systems, how to connect them, how much time it will go, how much is going to cost, how to do that, how to achieve. Here those plans revealed in Ramayan. And that was the first and the last, because so far nobody even thinking about that kind of infrastructure or such a big scale to connect 14 planetary systems. But Ravana had that in his mind. He also wanted to perform other acts against the established rule of the Lord. He even challenged the authorities of Sri Ram, the personality of Godhead, and kidnapped his wife Sita. Of course, Lord Rama came to chastise this atheist, answering the prayer and desire of demigods. He therefore took up the challenge of Ravana, and the complete activity is the subject matter of Ramayana. Because Lord Ramachandra was the personality of Godhead, he exhibited superhuman activities which no human being, including the materially advanced Ravana, could perform. Lord Ramachandra prepared a royal road on the Indian Ocean with stones that floated on the water. The modern scientists have done research in that area of weightlessness, but it is not possible to bring in weightlessness anywhere and everywhere. But because weightlessness is the creation of God, by which He can make the gigantic planets fly and float in the air, He made the stones even within this earth to be weightless and prepared a stone bridge on the sea without any supporting pillars. That is the display of power of God. So this is what we are trying to preach. We have no any scientific knowledge. We are not scientists. We are not engineers. We don't know how to build that kind of bridge. But it's okay. How it works, if you know that technique, then everything is simple. Even Lord Rama is learning something from Ramayan. There is a story that these monkeys are building the bridges and the stones and bridges floating on the ocean. Ram himself is surprised and he says, these people who have no intelligence, who are animals, right? They don't have any culture whatsoever. These monkeys are building this stone bridge. What is my input? Maybe I should also help. So middle of the night, Ram, when he is thinking this way, he gets up and he walks through the water. And he picks up a big rock and he throws in the water. And guess what happened? Just like any other stone, that big rock that Ram threw went right into the water. And Ram was really embarrassed. Oh my God, their stones are floating and what I threw is not floating. Went right into the bottom of the sea. So he picked up another one, third one. And every time he did, finally he heard a laughter. Hanuman was actually, as a security guard, sitting on the top of the tree and watching what was happening. And he came down from the tree and bowed down to Lord Ramachandra. And he said, excuse my laughing, but I was watching what we were doing. And whatever he threw went right into under the bottom of the sea, never to come back, never to be delivered, never to be float, never to go from one shore to other. Impossible. I saw that. But don't take it that it's a bad thing. That shows your potency. He says, my Lord, anything you reject will have to go down to the bottom of the sea. And there is no any deliverance for that. This is it. If you hold something, that will give you protection. The stone that you are holding has life, but something that you reject will never have life. Rama was very much pleased with his observation. And then he says, I also observed that the monkeys throw the stone and they are floating, but your rocks went down. I gave you the reason, of course, but there is another reason for that. It's a scientific reason. Just like if I put a battery here and switch it on, a thing may move. It's possible. But if there is no any battery, there is no any charge, there is no any plugging in this camera, it will not shoot the picture, right? So, that battery, that energy is the name of Ramachandra. Hanumanji says that. When we throw the stone, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We chant your name, Lord, and then we throw the rock and it floats. You try. Ramachandra says, really? He says, yes. We don't really loudly chant, but that's our japa. In our heart, there is Ram. We want to serve him. And the meaning of this mantra is all the same. That my Lord, give me a chance to serve you. With that attitude, when we throw the rock, it floats. And Ram says, okay, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And it started floating. So that's the technique Prabhupada gave us. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be intelligent. You don't have to go to college even. You don't have to have some kind of degree or PhD. But as long as you chant, things will work out for you. You can make the stones float. You can build a bridge. You can have infrastructure like Ravana suggested and connect the planetary system. In this present body, you can go to Swarga or back to Godhead. No problem, he says, as long as you are chanting. Yesterday only we were reading that in this when you chant that particular stage, you are liberated actually in your present body. You don't have to really die in order to go back to Godhead. And that's what happened with Srila Prabhupada. It's impossible after 70 years, start, writing this book, translating these books, writing purports. And not 1 or 2 millions of them. Right behind me there is a table for books for sale. The whole bookshelf is for sale. We have upstairs library, hundreds and millions of books printed, distributed by Srila Prabhupada. So this is what this bottom line is. And then we go further. एकोनविंशे विंशीतिमे विष्णुष्णु प्राप्य जन्मनि रामकृष्णविता भूवो भगवान हरभद्रम् एकोनविंशे विंशतिमे वृष्णीषु प्राप्य जन्मनि रामकृष्णाविति भूवो भगवान हरभद्रम्. In the 19th and 20th incarnations, the Lord advented himself as the Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna in the family of Rushni, the Yadu dynasty. And by so doing, he removed the burden of the world. Tato kalo sampravrutte sammohaya suradvisham buddho namna janasuta kikateshu bhavishyati. Tadakkalo sampravrutte sammohaya suradvisham buddho namna janasuta Kikateshu bhavishyati. Then In the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord appeared as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of faithful taste. So it is again a different kind of mission, and you will find a lot of Buddhists following Lord Buddha. But that is again is our one of the incarnation of God. And then Athaso Yuga Sandayam Dasyu Prayeshu Rajasu Janita Vishnu Yasasu Namna Kalkir Jagpati Jaham. So, Athaso Yuga Sandhyayam Dasyu Prayeshu Rajasu Janita Vishnu Yasaso Namna Kalki Jagpatihi. So thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as a Kalki incarnation. Conjunction of two yugas means right now we are going through the Kali Yuga. And then eventually, at the end of 432,000 years, this particular Kali Yuga is going to be over and then Satya Yuga will start. That's going to last for 1728,000 years. Then the next millennium, the Treta Yuga will come, which lasts for 12,096,000 years. And then again, Dwapar Yuga will come, which lasts for 8,064,000 years. So this conjunction of Kali Yuga and Satya Yuga, the Lord will take birth as a Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. This is a prediction, prophecy. No one knows, nobody is there, Vishnu Yasha or anybody. I doubt there is even town like that or village like that. But there will be a province like that in India in which this particular person will be there, and when his wife begets a son, is going to be Kalki incarnation. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. So, while we are talking this, there is a very, very important point which we should never ever mince, because that is actually very important verse that has been quoted over and over and over and over by all the preachers, so that we understand all these incarnations, how important it is and what it is. It goes like this. Ete cha shukala pusa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mudayanti Yuge Yuge Ete Chanshukala Pusa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mrudayanti Yuge Yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheist. The Lord incarnate to protect the theists. So, whether it is a Matsya incarnation or tortoise incarnation or Narasimha incarnation, it is not 100% in potency. The only 100% potency is Lord Sri Krishna. Rest of them may have, for example, sometimes on even a mouthwash or some ointment you buy, you read the prescription, it says 0.1%. right? Steroid, 0.2%, 5%, but never 100%. So the thing is that the 100% potency is assumed when Krishna came as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the rest of them have a percentage. Some may have 75%, 50%, 25%. We just mentioned about 1/6 of 100%, right? So, all this information that I gave you, how will you remember them? What is the way? Is there any way somebody can memorize this? Suppose you have test tomorrow and I ask you about all this incarnation, you think you will be able to answer? Srila Prabhupada is so merciful. And believe me or no, this is the particular information I received when I came to this country. I started working in the Midtown Manhattan, where there was a Hare Krishna temple. So I visited, and the pujari used to play this particular song on a tape while performing the arti. And I was listening, and I didn't know the meaning of it. And then I inquired. And when I found the meaning, I learned all about the incarnations. Not only that, but even in those days when I was not a devotee, I was able to talk about incarnations. Whatever I'm reading here, what I'm talking right now, I had that knowledge by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, because he sang this particular song, which I will sing for you. And you will learn a lot, because it describes everything that we have to know during this Ramakatha. So the song goes like that. You have heard it, maybe you can sing better than me, but if you know, you can sing with me, or at least try to play with me some musical instrument, if you know harmonium or mridanga or kartal or anything. So let's just try to sing it. The song goes like this. Pralaya payodhi jale drutvan sivedam vihita vihitra charitam akhedam keshavadruta Meena Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Khitarihi Vipul Tare Tisthati Tav Pruste Dharani Dharakin Chakra Gariste Keshavadruta Kurma Sharira Keshavadruta Kurma Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Vasati Dashan Shikhare Dharani Tava Lagna Shashini Kalanka Kaleva Nimagna Keshavadruta Shukararupa Keshavadruta Shukararupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare. And of course, the next one, everyone know, everyone sings. Every day they sing. And not only once, twice, but maybe 3-4 times a day we sing after the Aarti. And that is appearance of Lord Narasimha. And to pray him we sing this. तव कर कमलुवरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगम दालित हिरण्य कशिपूतनु भृंगम केशवद्रुता नरहरि रूपा केशवद्रुता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे चलयसि विक्रमणे बलिम अद्भुत वामन पदनिख निरत जनित जन पावन केशवद्रुता वामन रूपा केशवद्रुता वामन रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे क्षत्रिय रुधिर मय जगतपगत पापम स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम केशवद्रुता भृगुपति रूपा केशवद्रुता भृगुपति रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. Now you can sing with me or let's sing twice because this is the Ram Katha. And it says, Vichurasi dikshurane dikpati kamaniyam dashmukh moli balim ramaniyam Vichurasi dikshurane dikpati kamaniyam dashmukh moli bale ramaniyam केशवद्रुता राम शरीरा केशवद्रुता राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. वह शिवपुषि विषुदेवसनम जलदाभम हलहति बिति मिलित यमुनाभम केशवद्रुता हलधर रूपा केशवद्रुता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. So that is Baladev. Here the name is Haladhar because he is holding his weapon. Just like Shri Krishna is holding a flute, Balaramji is holding Haladhar. Hal, something, the plow that you can. And he brought the whole Yamuna river Uh, Wherever he wanted, he carried it. So that's why his name is Haladar. So during the reading, if you didn't come across the word Haladar, and you may be surprised at what is this Haladar. But Haladar is the same as Baladev. Nindasya Shruti Jatam Sadaya Radaya Darshita Pashugatam Keshavadruta Buddha Sharira Keshavadruta Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Mlechunimiha Nidhan Kalayasi Karvalam Dumke Tumaiva Kimavapikalam Keshavadruta Kalki Sharira Keshavadruta Kalki Sharira Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Shri Jayadeva Kaveridhamuditam Udaram Shunu Sukhadam Shubhadam Bhavasaram Shri Jayadeva Kaveridham Uditam Udaram Shunu Sukhadam Shubhadam Bhavasaram Keshavadruta Dashavidarupa Keshavadruta Dashavidarupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. So again, another word is Dashavida Rupa. Dashavida means 10, and Vida Rupa means incarnations. And Jayadev is the person who wrote this beautiful poem or a prayer. And that is why his name is actually connected within this prayer. And he says, Keshavadruta Dashavida Rupa. I narrate and describes this 10 incarnation for your information. And every single day, there was a time, like I said before, right now we sing Gaura Arti. But when we were in Midtown, Manhattan, we used to sing this as a prayer. When you go to India, in normal occasions, in other kind of pujas and all that, especially when you do the puja home, we chant Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. So because these words are also here, Jai Jagadish Hare, it used to be used as a arti in ISKCON temple. So he wrote this particular poem, but he also is giving translation, translated by Srila Prabhupada. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a fish, all glories to you. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a giant fish, just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in a turbulent sea of devastation. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, all glories to you in this incarnation as a divine tortoise. The great Mandara mountains rest upon your gigantic back, as a pure for churning the ocean of milk. From holding up the huge mountain, a large scar-like depression is put in your back, which has become most glorious. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar, all glories to you. The earth, which had become immersed in the Garbhodakshai ocean, at the bottom of the universe, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. O Keshav, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a half man and half lion, all good is to you, just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails. So in the same way, the body of wasp-like demon, Hiranyakashipu, has been ripped apart by the wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. O Keshav, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a dwarf Vamana, all glories to you, O wonderful dwarf. You, by your massive steps, you deceive King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emerged or emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world. So it's not just a translation, there are pastimes within the pastimes. When Lord Vamandev wanted to capture all the three planetary system, upper planetary system, when he wanted to go there, he simply raised his foot and his toe of his foot touched the sky. When God's nail is touching the sky, what will happen? The sky was punctured. And river Ganges were flowing in heaven. But because Lord punctured the hole in the sky, there was no choice but Ganges to come down on the earth. So this is how the water of Ganges came down on the earth. And right now, people are taking bath in that Ganges water and purify themselves. So there are story within story, and there is, we will have plenty of time. It's not just a matter of 10 days we are going to do Ram Katha. We'll continue. All we need is some sponsor. And why we need sponsor? I don't need sponsor. I don't need audience to hear. But if we have some few people coming here listening to Katha, and if they go empty-handed, that doesn't look right. So behalf of the sponsor, you can see right now, we cook something and put it in front of the Lord. Once Lord is finished eating, then when the people leave after the Ram Katha, we give them something. Doesn't have to be a opulent feast. Could be rasgulla, gulab jamun, and halwa, some cut fruits, whatever it is. But people are satisfied with that. And that's all we have to cover for 10 days. So if you are thinking of sponsoring, we have, like said, thousands of books translated by Srila Prabhupada, printed by Srila Prabhupada, distributed by Prabhupada. And if you want to order, you won't need me even. You can read it in your home. Any language, it doesn't have to be Gujarati, Hindi or English or anything. Any language of the world, we have printed Prabhupada's books. And those books are available at the price of peanuts. It doesn't cost you anything. Such a wonderful qualities of the paper, printing, no mistakes, whatever. And any type you want, small size, big size, you can buy them. And please do that. So, coming back to this again. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Bhrugupati, Parshuram, all glories to you at Kurukshetra. You bathe the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of the demoniac Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the world are washed away by you, and because you people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. And then this pertains to Ram Katha because it's a Rama avatar. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Ramachandra, all good is to you, all good is to you, all good is to you, Lord Ramachandra. In the battle of Lanka, you destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his hairs as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of 10 directions headed by Indra. Very beautiful. It's not just he cut the 10 heads of Ravana, but all the direction, north, south, east, west, all the four corners, the direction above, direction below. He took those heads of Ravana and offered it in 10 directions. So this is just amazing. And then when you really do some karmakan or explaining in language of karmakan, it even becomes more beautiful, more authentic. For example, if I have to offer something, I say, Animaya Namam, Mahimaya Namam, Girimaya Namam, Lagimaya Namam, Praptye Namam, Prakyamaya Namam, Ishitaya Namam, Vashitaya Namam, Urdhve Namam, Adhaya Namam. All the direction, Uttar, Dakshin, Purva, Paschim, Ishan, Agni, Nairutya, Vayavya. All these directions, up above, all down below, everybody is satisfied because of this offering that Lord Ramachandra made of the 10 heads of Ravana. And then, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of Balaram, the wielder of plough, all good is to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of river Yamuna, who feels great fear due to the striking of your plowshare. And then, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of Buddha, all good is to you. O Buddha of compassionate heart, you decry the slaughtering of poor animals, perform according to the rules of Vedic sacrifices. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Kalki, all good is to you. You appear like a comet and carrying a terrifying sword for bringing about the annihilation of wicked barbarian man at the end of the Kalki Yuga. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed these 10 different forms of incarnation, all good is to you. O readers, please hear these hymns of poet Jayadev, which is the most excellent and awarder of happiness, a bestower of auspiciousness, and is the best thing in this dark world of hypocrisy and quarrel. O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you, who appear in the forms of these 10 incarnations. In the form of Matsya, you rescue the Vedas, and as a Kurma, you bear the Mandara mountain on your back. As Varaha, you lift the earth with your tusk, and in the form of Narasimha, you tear open the chest of Daitya, Hiranyakashipu. In the form of Vamana, you trick the Daitya king Bali by asking him for only 3 steps of land and then you took away the whole universe from him by expanding your steps. As Parshuram, you slay all the wicked Kshatriyas, and Ramachandra, you conquer the Rakshasa king Ravana. In the form of Balaram, you carry a plow with which you subdue the wicked and draw towards you the river Yamuna. As Lord Buddha, you show compassion towards all the living beings suffering in this world. And at the end of Kali Yuga, you appear as Kalki to bewilder the mlecha, degraded, low-class man. So, there are other incarnations like Sanat Kumar, Narad, Narnarayan, Kapil, Dattatreya, Yagna, Rishabdev, Pruthu, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Vyas, Dharma, Manu, etc., etc. So, the first day only we made it clear that first there are Purush incarnations, and then the Gunavatar, the incarnation based on the qualities. And there are some Yugavatar and some Lilavatar, Shaktavesh Avatar. All these kind of incarnations are there. And that's why Bhagavad Gita says that yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharato abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya ch dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthayo sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is a decline in religion, God comes and helps us. So, we have plenty to read, and so far as Rama Avatar is concerned, we have to also know a little bit about some background which is very informative. So here it says, in the 5th generation after Bhagirath appeared King Ritu Parna, who learned the science of horses from his friend Nala. In exchange for the art of gambling, 3 generations after Rituparna was Saudasa, the son of Sudasa. Once while living in the forest, Saudas killed a Rakshasa, but let the man-eater's brother go free. Still, the Rakshasa's brother decided to take revenge. And to do so, he became a cook at Sauda's palace. One day, when the king invited his spiritual master Vasishtha for dinner, the Rakshasa served him human flesh. By his mystic power, Vasishtha examined the food and saw that it was human flesh. Thus, being unfit to eat, Vasishtha then angrily cursed Saudas to become a Rakshasa. However, when the Rishi came to understand that the human flesh had been served by the Rakshasa cook and not by Saudas, he became greatly repentant. To atone for such curse, the faultless King Vasishtha then underwent 12 years of austerity. As soon as he was cursed, Saudas touched water and prepared to counter curse Vasishtha. After chanting the sharp mantra, his wife Damayanti, who was also known as Madayanti, forbade him to do so. However, in this way the king was restrained. Thereafter, King Saudas acquired the propensity of Rakshasa and received a black spot on his leg, for which he also became known as Kalm Pad. Because of his degraded nature, Saudas hungrily observed how in all directions, both in the sky and on the land, there were innumerable living entities. Once, while wandering in the forest, King Kalmaspad saw a Brahmana couple engage in the act of sexual intercourse. Being very hungry and under the influence of the Rakshasa propensity, Saudas forcibly seized the Brahmana, desiring to eat him. And the Brahmana's wife is pleading, "My lord, you are aware of religious principle. Just as a son does not deserve to be killed by his father, so this Brahmana should be protected by Rajashri like you and never killed. Indeed, the killing of this Brahmana would be as sinful as the destruction of the embryo within the womb or the slaughter of a cow. O king, without my husband, I cannot live for even a moment. If you insist on devouring him, then you should first of all eat me. So without my husband, I am no better than a dead body." So saying this, Brahmana's wife is actually entering the fire after his husband was killed. So King Saudas gave up then all aspiration to enjoy the happiness of sexual intercourse in that life. And as a result, he remained without a son. So in Ram generations, there used to be one person named Saudas, didn't have son. Thereafter, later on, King Saudas' permission, Vasistha was invited to beget a child in womb of Madhyanti. Madhyanti continued to bear the embryo within her womb, but after 7 years, when there was still no sign of delivery, Vasistha struck her abdomen with a stone, and the child was born. Due to the unusual circumstances of his birth, the boy received the name Ashmaka, the child born out of a stone. The son of Ashmaka was Balika, who was protected by women as a Parshuram proceeded to vanquish all the Kshatriyas. Because of this, Balika also became known as Narikavach, and later on he became the progenitor of more Kshatriyas. Thus, he also received the name Mulaka, the root of the Kshatriya dynasty. In the fourth generation after Balika appeared Maharaja Khatwang, who was unconquerable. For this reason, the demigods once requested King Khatwang to join them in their fight with the demons. Because Khatwang enabled them to gain victory, the demigods were very pleased and so offered to give him a benediction of his choice. This is wonderful for the devotees to know, because when Maharaja Khatwang was given the opportunity that we can give you anything you want, Maharaja Khatwang says, "I don't want anything, I just want to know how much time I have left in my life." And it's so beautiful. Then the demigod said, "You have only one murat, maybe hardly half an hour you have, then you are going to die." So then he is asking Indra and all the demigods, "What should I do? I don't have much time." So he says, "Chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead." That's what Prabhupada told us. So Khatwang is actually chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the rest of the time, whatever 24 minutes or whatever he had, he is chanting, and then is going back to Godhead. So here also the whole Ramayan is actually starting with his name, in his honor of his chanting, honor of being devotee. So he says, Shuka Uvacha, Khatavanga Dirgabahuscha Raghu Tasmat Pudushavan Ajattato Maharaja Tasmat Dasharotu Bhav. Shukadeva Goswami said the son of Maharaj Khatwang was Dirgabahu, and his son was celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaj Dashrath. And when Maharaj Dashrath, he begot a son that was known as Rama, and that's exactly what we are reading, Ramakatha, about Lord Rama. The son of Maharaj Khatang was Dirgabahu, and his son was celebrated Raghu. Aja was son of Raghu, and from Aja was born Maharaj Dashrath. So, in response to King Dashrath's prayer to the demigods, the Supreme Personality Godhead directly appeared as the son of Maharaj Dashrath, Lord Rama, along with his expansion and expansions of his expansions, named Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna. So, I think it's time for Aarti, and we read too much the history or the past before Ramajanma, because like I mentioned, it was like some 19th incarnation before him, and we had to cover all of them in a short time. Next thing what we are trying to do is read and sing the Aarti. There are pages available if you go over there. Maybe some pages are there and you can give it to people who are interested. They can even sing with me. So, Aarti will start soon. Those who are watching home, they may have some paraphernalias. The pujari is going to offer the incense and the ghee lamp and little water and handkerchief and flower, the chamar or peacock fan, conch shell, whatever you have. You can use it and offer it to Radha Govinda. It's all yours. Radha Govinda is visiting you, and they are in your cell phone. If you go to our what you call line that we have provided you, connection, and then you go to YouTube or Facebook or wherever you can watch Radha Govinda at your home, and then offer him something. And if you want to do the actual Aarti, you can also pull out all the paraphernalias and do the Aarti. So in here, on the right hand side, if you see right hand side, there are two columns, left and right. So on the right hand side it says, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutare Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Do you read that? On the right hand side. And then down below it says Namaste Saraswati Gaur in a blue letters. Right? And then Gaura Arti is given on the left. The translation is given on the right. So let us start singing those prayers. Everybody with folded hands, sing with me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Loudly. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda की बजायो जय गौराचंद्र आरती को शोभं की बजायो जय गौराचंद्र आरती को शोभं जानवी तटवन जगमन लोबा जानवी तटवन जगमन लोबा दक्षिण निकाय चाँद Pame Gadadharam. Dakshinikayi Chant Pame Gadadharam. Nikate Advaita Shreni Vasichatridara. Nikate Advaita Shreni Vasichatridara. Basi ache gaurachan ratnu sinhasan. Basi ache gaurachan ratnu sinhasan. Arti koren Brahma Adideva gane. Arti koren Brahma Adideva gane. Narari Adi Kori Chamur Dulam. Narari Adi Kori Chamur Dulam. Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadigaya. Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadigaya. Shankha baje, ghanta baje, baje kartalam. Shankha baje, ghanta baje, baje kartalam. Madhura mridanga baje param rasala. Madhura mridanga baje param rasala. Shankha baje, घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल बहु कोटि चंद्र जीनी वदन उज्ज्वलं बहु कोटि चंद्र गिरी वदन उज्ज्वलं गल देश वनमाला जल माला गल देश वनमाला जल माला शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेम गदाधर शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेम गदाधर भक्ति विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा भक्ति विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha. Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha. Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai. Jai Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan. Jai Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jai Giri Govardhan. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर भक्त वृंद की, अंतर्वित मायापुर धाम की, वृंदावन धाम की, तुलसी देवी की, भक्ति देवी की, समावेद भक्त वृंद की, गौ फैमिली, all good to assemble devotees, all good to assemble devotees, all good to assemble devotees, all good to Guru and Gaurang. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prayag Radharayana. Prayag Radharayana. Hiranyakashipu सिलटंकान खालाय इतो नसिंहो परितो नसिंहो यतो यतो मितो नसिंहो बहिर्नसिंहो उड़िरये नसिंहो नरसिंहां गदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव कर कमल वरे नखां अद्भुत सिंहां दालिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृंगा केशवद्रुता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज नरसिंह भगवान की भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की श्री राधा गोविंद देव की श्री प्रभुपाद की Thanks for joining everyone. We finished 5 days of Ram Katha. And on 10th of April again, that was the last day, Ram Navami. And please try to be with us. If you cannot attend in the temple room, maybe you should go home and go to the YouTube and try to listen to Ram Katha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj coming.
Tomorrow, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj is coming at about noon time. So if you want to take advantage of this event, please come. There is going to be Krishna Katha and a lot of Krishna Prasadam also. So be there. 12 o'clock we'll be offering and then Aarti and Maharaj will be speaking. Lot of activities. Don't miss this chance. He came after 20 years. Next visit will be 20 years. So the thing is, take advantage of this serious matter. If you miss the opportunity, you have to wait long time. This is like a one in a lifetime kind of opportunity. Please come tomorrow in the afternoon. Hare Krishna.